Hi, Clayton. Big fan of your show. I had a question. A property was recently transferred over to me from my parents, but they are still using it as their primary residence. And I wanted to know if it's a smart idea to tap into that equity to purchase a property for myself. My biggest concern are the high prices right now, and nothing is pushing me to purchase. I'm happy to rent, but what do you recommend?
Okay, thanks, Jared. So, a property for you to use as an investment property to tap into that equity of the home that has now been transferred to you and your parents are living there, and you can take some of that equity. First of all, again, I'm not a financial advisor, I am not a CPA, I'm not a lawyer, but I can just tell you that any time that there is equity sitting in a property that you're not tapping into, that's a huge mistake. Look, let me just tell you something. If you get a chance to read a couple of books, about the current financial situation, I would recommend a book called The War on Small Business. And once you realize that the deck is really stacked against small business owners, small time entrepreneurs. It is really in favor of these big multinational corporations. It's really in favor of these massive banks. Just look at what happened during the pandemic and these massive protections and billions of dollars being funneled to these big banks. They are the enemy. Let's make no mistake about it. The U.S. Massive banks and its collusion with the Federal Reserve are basically a criminal syndicate. I'm not going to try to sugarcoat it. They absolutely are. And when you read this book, The War on Small Business, you realize they are run like a cartel. So now, if you have the opportunity to use the bank's money, other people's money, but specifically this cartel that has been given billions of dollars by the US government and US taxpayers, and if you're not taking advantage of some of these things, even like the small scraps that the rest of us get access to, then I think you need to get your head examined. I mean, I would absolutely suggest taking the equity out of a property, finding a bank that's willing to give you 2, 3%, 4% interest, and giving you a check or giving you a home equity line, excuse me, a home equity line of credit that you can take and then invest in and buy other rental properties right now. Look, I know you're concerned about the current prices, and yeah, certain markets are in sort of bubble territory, but then I would take that money and reposition it in other markets. I mean, that's why we build properties in West Texas, because it's one of the best real estate rental markets in the country. So if you take that equity out of your parents' home, that's now your home, and reposition that equity somewhere else out of state, it doesn't have to be in your backyard. So you're probably looking around your neighborhood kind of with, I don't want to say with blinders on, but you're kind of looking around your neighborhood, seeing prices in your neck of the woods. And I can tell you, as I've done many videos here on this channel, the best rental properties are not in your backyard. So I want you to start thinking differently about it, right? You've got an asset. You can pull the equity out of that asset in the state you live in, and then reposition that asset and equity, reposition that equity in the form of other purchases, other assets in other states, tax-friendly environments, landlord-friendly states, or even out of the country. I mean, let's not think so small here, right? I mean, buying gold, buying silver, buying precious metals and real estate, and taking that away out of your state, out of your backyard, away from the federal government, away from these criminals on Wall Street, and being smart about it. So absolutely, if you can hear the passion in my voice, I've just reading this book recently and reading a lot of deep dive economic treatises lately on how the Federal Reserve and the collusion with the big banks, if you're not tapping into some of this, where they have just walked all over people, and you can actually get some equity out of your home and reposition that to start producing cash flow for you every month, take advantage of that, my friend. Take advantage of that. Why should we leave it to these Wall Street fat cats to do it, right? That's my humble opinion about it, Jared. But boy, it sounds like you're in a good position. Yeah, to tap into some of that equity, get a home equity line of credit, and then buy rental properties in another market in some of the landlord-friendly states in the country. Again, we have great articles on our website. If you go to morrisinvest.com, we have great articles and resources to show you about some of the best rental markets in the country. So if you have any questions you'd like to enter into our system, we'd be happy to answer them here on the show. Just go to Morris Invest. That's our website, morrisinvest.com, MORRIS invest.com/Clayton. That's me. And that'll bring up a little voicemail button. Leave us a 30-second voicemail question about your struggles in real estate or investing or just getting started, and we will attempt to answer them here on the show. So now go out there, everyone. Take action. Become a real estate investor. I believe it's the #1 way to build and protect your wealth. We'll see you next time.